Welcome to WatchMojoUK, and today we're counting down our picks for the best crime films that are set in Britain or were otherwise executed, pun intended, by British creative minds.
Gentlemen, please. We are about to do a job in Italy, and I would like to introduce you all to each other.
Before we begin, we publish new content every day, so be sure to subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to get notified about our latest videos.
We'll be delving heavily into plot points on occasion, so a spoiler alert is hereby declared. Number 20, Croupier.
Welcome back, Jack.
Writer-director Mike Hodges was no stranger to the British crime film, since he was responsible for helming some of the genre's most important and influential examples back in the 1970s. We'll touch on one of those tentpoles later on in this list, but we mustn't ignore this underrated effort from Hodges that was released in 1998.
What aftershave are you using?
Never converse with the punters, slows things down. Money down.
Clive Owen cuts a dashing figure in Croupier, a stylistic throwback to film noir that nevertheless possesses touches of Hodges' cult directorial style. This is mainly a character piece, but Croupier always feels tense and on the edge, anchored by a stellar early performance from Owen. Consider this one to be something of a cult gem. Number 19. The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Lover.
Georgie, you're so talkative tonight, we couldn't stand the silence without you.
This film may possess an unwieldy title, but don't mistake 1989's The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Lover for anything less than a late-cycle crime gem. There's an artistic sensibility at play here within the film's execution that's juxtaposed against its shocking moments of violence.
Hold him.
Helen Mirren, herself no stranger to the world of cult cinema, puts on a fantastic performance here, a tour de force of emotional depth. The Cook, the Thief, His Wife and Her Lover isn't an easy film to watch with regards to its transgressive content, but offers rich rewards to those who take the dive into this unapologetically rough world.
You can't make me wait.
Number 18. Legend.
Your brother is arbitrary, violent and psychopathic, probably paranoid schizophrenic.
Tom Hardy pulls double duty as the twin gangster siblings Reggie and Ronald Cray of the infamous East End Cray gang. Legend may have been helmed by an American writer-director, Brian Helgeland, but the source material feels properly executed by Hardy and everyone involved.
Oh, there he is, my beautiful brother Reggie. A toast to my beautiful brother, home at last.
The film is a stylish one, to be sure, but never at the expense of substance. Meanwhile, the Cray's propensity for violence is never shied away from either, with Legend very much enveloping itself within the underworld of British organised crime. It's an energetic and supremely watchable thrill ride for both British crime stalwarts and newbies alike.
People who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones.
Number 17. Down Terrace.
I feel like I've been fighting this corner forever, mate.
40 years, not a bad run.
The word cult will likely be coming up again and again with regards to many films and personalities on this list. This comes down primarily to the often idiosyncratic talents of creatives like Ben Wheatley. Down Terrace is yet another exemplary example of this writer-director's ability to balance the blackest humour with vicious moments of violence.
What's going on?
Everything's okay, Maggie, don't worry.
Yeah, it's just a bit of boisterous fun, Ma.
The film's plot is akin to that of a Russian doll, as deeper layers of lies and subterfuge are revealed to an ex-convict who's seeking out a defector within his organisation. Down Terrace is an embarrassment of riches when it comes to well-written dialogue and dynamic performances, and comes highly recommended for fans of Wheatley's work. Number 16. Sexy Beast.
Too hot. Not for me. I love it.
What is it about the British crime film that captures the imagination of international audiences? Is it the dialogue, the action, or the local settings? Perhaps it's the often unique titles, such as with 2000's Sexy Beast. We're not sure, but we do know that this film from director Jonathan Glazer takes an old school premise and runs with it for all it's worth.
What's that supposed to mean?
What?
That stupid nodding you're doing.
The plot device of a retired criminal stepping back into their old shoes for one more job could have failed, were it not for the stellar performances of leads Ray Winstone, Ian McShane, and Sir Ben Kingsley. This impeccable trio puts together a clinic when it comes to creating unmissable screen presence, keeping the audience firmly engaged from first moment to last.
Just one more day, darling, just one more day.
Number 15, Kill List.
Okay. 1, 2, 3. Abracadabra.
Ben Wheatley strikes again with a film that subverts audience expectations in a most harrowing and shocking fashion. Kill List from 2011 is one part underworld assassin game and one part occult folk horror film. The end results are honestly unlike any other, as Wheatley crafts a suspenseful narrative alongside co-screenwriter Amy Jump.
Well, tell Godfrey me, if you're the type of people he hangs about with, stay out of my way.
Kill List is unapologetically explicit when it comes to violence, yet the film also straddles a line between art house and grindhouse. Wheatley's refusal to compromise lends Kill List the stamp of an auteur as well, and it's highly unlikely audiences will forget the viewing experience after it's over.
He needs to get help.
Number 14, Bellman True.
Right on our doorstep. Didn't you know that? Didn't you know we kept open house?
There's a deliberate aura of mystery when it comes to all of the skullduggery at play within 1987's Bellman True. Director Richard Lon Crane co-wrote the script alongside Desmond Loudon and Michael Wearing, combining multiple genres into one layered and multifaceted story. Bellman True largely keeps its characters' names and backstories at arm's length throughout its running time, instead utilising various monikers and code words.
I'm the governor. He's the bellman. That's all you need to know.
Kidnapping, burglary, assassination, and intrigue all come into play by the film's end, yet viewers always feel as if the truth is dangling maddeningly out of reach, making Bellman True a unique movie experience.
Can we get out?
Number 13, Sweeney.
Oh dear, they're gonna love you, aren't they?
The 1970s were a halcyon era for police procedurals both abroad and at home in the UK. The Sweeney is perhaps the best, most loved small-screen cop show of its day, a show so successful that it spawned this feature film extension in 1977. Sweeney, the movie, still features Detective Inspector Jack Regan and Detective Sergeant George Carter, but here the action isn't fettered to television standards and practices.
Yeah, and we're the Sweeney, and this man is under arrest.
The Sweeney always pushed boundaries with regards to its violent and salacious content, and this feature film leans heavily into two-fisted, testosterone-driven action. The plot echoes the real-life Profumo affair from the 1970s, while John Thor and Dennis Waterman's impeccable chemistry brings this Sweeney to life. Number 12, Villain.
Terry? Duncan?
There's a duality at play within Richard Burton's masterful portrayal of conflicted gangster Vic Dakin. One hand, the audience is made privy to how much love and care Dakin has for his ailing mother. On the other hand, we see how mercilessly and unhinged Burton can be in his performance, lending Dakin an almost animalistic ferocity.
And old Tom's got you marked, Vic. I was talking to Frank, I'm bleeding all. I was talking to Frank, wasn't I?
Burton clearly leads the charge here with Villain, but the ensemble cast also does a lot of the heavy lifting, particularly co-star Ian McShane. By the film's end, Dakin is unapologetic about who he is or what he's willing to do, defiantly taunting police at his arrest. And we, the audience, know all too well that he'll likely avoid justice, a true villain to the end.
We the governors, Frank. Aren't we the governors?
Number 11. Performance.
I didn't recognize your voice.
No?
No.
Oh, no. I've been away, haven't I?
Director Nicholas Roeg's maverick sensibilities served him well with this unique and uncategorizable crime film from 1970. Performance is very much a product of its era, a hazy and psychedelic film that takes creative risks with regards to visual experimentation. The film is just as much a vehicle for Rolling Stones singer Mick Jagger as it is for lead James Fox, and performance always feels as if it's going to come apart at any moment.
Right, on a nightly basis, on a horse.
Of course, the rumours that real, unsimulated sex and drug use found their way into the finished film adds to the infamy of performance. This would matter little if Roeg and co-director-screenwriter Donald Cammell didn't make performance watchable, however, and the end results speak for themselves. This is a cult film.
He's a nutcase, like all artists, but I can rely on him.
Number 10, Eastern Promises.
Not staying for a party?
No.
Nor me. Chauffeur don't get invited.
Director David Cronenberg proved that you didn't need to be British in order to construct a compelling UK crime narrative with 2007's Eastern Promises. The London location shooting lends this film a gritty authenticity that emphasises the nasty thematic business of organised crime, sex trafficking and narcotics.
What's wrong? We're just sampling.
What's wrong? Your friend Soika.
Lead Viggo Mortensen delivers a bare and brave performance with a steely reserve that's frankly remarkable. The entire affair feels uneasy and leaves audiences with an upset stomach, particularly those averse to bursts of visceral and ugly violence. Cronenberg may be best known for his work in the horror genre, but Eastern Promises ensured that both fans and critics saw the bigger scope of his creative talents.
How can you keep doing what you're doing?
I'm just a driver.
Number 9. Layer Cake.
The business is on the up and up. But I've always said, have a plan and stick to it.
There are a number of tentpole names when it comes to the modern era of British crime cinema. Matthew Vaughn almost certainly needs to be included in this conversation, since the London native has been prolifically active as a writer, director and producer. Layer Cake was Vaughn's debut behind the director's chair and bellied that relative inexperience with an approach that was cocksure and determined to impress.
So Morty did 10 years because Freddie Hearst fell asleep.
But he kept his mouth shut.
Of course, it helped that Vaughan also had a young Daniel Craig in the lead, alongside stars like Sienna Miller and Tom Hardy. The established trope of wanting to go straight is explored here with a stylistic flair that's typically British and undeniably Vaughan's, even at this early stage. It's brilliant stuff.
Man sells his soul to the devil. It all ends in tears. These arrangements usually do.
Number 8. Brighton Rock.
Well, would you, Molly?
There would arguably be no British crime archetype were it not for Brighton Rock setting the blueprint back in 1948. This combination of murder mystery, noir and gangster picture went on to influence generations of filmmakers and actors in the wake of its release.
Well, I think we better go where we can talk in peace, huh?
This is not only thanks to the revelatory performance of Richard Attenborough in the lead, but also Harry Waxman's moody cinematography and John Bootling's assured direction. The age of Brighton Rock takes nothing away from its impact, nor its legacy, and it remains essential viewing today for any cinephile seeking to understand the roots of British crime.
The wise men know well enough what monsters you make of them.
Number 7. Sitting Target.
That's where you're going to end up.
If there's one film on this list that could be labelled as criminally underseen, then it just has to be 1972's Sitting Target. The film features a powerhouse performance from Oliver Reed, a man already known far and wide for powerhouse performances, together with a very game Ian McShane. Reed is feral and unhinged as a cuckolded convict out for revenge, with the actor taking this very simple premise and shooting for the moon. Make no mistake, Sitting Target practically bleeds 1970s ugliness and spit, and never apologises for its protagonist's unlikability. Then again, this is exactly why cinema from this day is largely lauded today. Sitting Target feels real, dangerously so, in fact. It's also an absolute must-see. Number 6. In Bruges.
That's for John Lennon.
This next film stands in stark contrast to many other examples on this list, in that In Bruges also makes time for some black comedy. Of course, this takes nothing away from the criminal elements at play, since the film centres its focus upon two hitmen. The mentor and mentee themes at play almost feel like they echo the Charles Bronson film The Mechanic, albeit with a modern twist.
It is a bit over-elaborate.
Colin Farrell's penitent assassin contrasts nicely with his more experienced partner, played by Brendan Gleeson. Meanwhile, Ralph Fiennes as the pair's boss more than exerts the required amount of menace. As a result, In Bruges is a small ensemble piece that's totally worth checking out.
Huh? What are you talking about?
Number 6. Snatch.
Here, Errol, I don't think he likes me. You don't like me, do you, boy?
I know what you mean.
If it seems that it took this long for us to mention Guy Ritchie, then perhaps it's just because that name has become so synonymous with cool, stylish gangster flicks from Britain. Snatch is one particular film that always comes to mind with regards to Ritchie's legacy as a filmmaker, and with good reason.
Brings you to it. Run out of pence to sniff?
That sounds like hostility, doesn't it, John?
Oh, and we don't like hostility, do we, Errol?
No, we don't, John.
Everything simply comes together on this one, from the witty banter and dialogue to the brilliant ensemble cast of Brad Pitt, Jason Statham, Alan Ford, Vinnie Jones, Dennis Farina and Benicio del Toro. Snatch is action-packed and possesses a wickedly dark humorous streak, but never feels too grim that it resists repeated viewings.
Are we taking him with us?
Number 4. Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels.
£100 is still £100.
Not when the price is £200, it's not.
It truly took a village to unleash Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels to the movie-going public back in 1998. Guy Ritchie directing, again, Matthew Vaughn producing, again, and a cast that includes Vinnie Jones and Jason Statham, again. Count us in.
$500,000.
I'm game.
Of course, none of these tidbits of information would have made Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels good without the righteous screenplay from Ritchie. This film exemplifies so much of what makes the modern British gangster film work on both a visceral and intellectual level, and it paid dividends with both fans and critics.
Where do we start, Rory?
Mr. Breaker. Today, my name is Mr. Breaker.
Number 3. The Italian Job.
I've been counting the days.
Yeah? Well, why didn't you come and see me when I was inside then?
Charlie, you know that's not my scene.
This British crime film from 1969 is probably the best known film from director Peter Collinson, but we advise not to sleep on the man's work. Collinson helmed a number of excellent thrillers throughout the 60s and 70s, but it's The Italian Job that put this director in the Hall of Fame.
Gentlemen, please. We are about to do a job in Italy, and I would like to introduce you all to each other.
This is a heist film to end all heist films, and a textbook example of how to execute this genre to fun, exciting perfection. The Italian Job serves as a time capsule of sorts for Britain's swinging 60s chic, and remains effortlessly cool. Additionally, the thrilling car chases, terminally hip dialogue, and a star-making turn from Sir Michael Caine all come together to lift The Italian Job to the head of the class.
We won, didn't we?
Number 2. Get Carter.
Let's have another drink.
If The Italian Job presented Sir Michael Caine as both a likeable and bankable star, then consider 1971's Get Carter to be its grizzled, roughshod cousin. Caine's performance as Jack Carter isn't without charisma, far from it in fact. However, this film presents a much more grim and realistic look at the criminal underworld, and those denizens who inhabit its depths. Carter is a man out for revenge for the death of his brother, and he'll have that revenge at any cost. Mike Hodges' directorial debut feels like that of a sure veteran hand, and never lets up for a second. Meanwhile, the score from Roy Budd is one for the ages, mixing jazz and funk orchestrations to genre-defining effect.
Stay where you are, Peter. Down!
Number 1. The Long Good Friday.
Maybe we should have gone to the airport to meet him.
No, play it cool. When the governor of Coca-Cola drops into London, the Queen don't go dashing off to Heathrow, does she?
We're pretty willing to bet that if you've seen The Long Good Friday from 1980, then you can quote by heart some of its intensely memorable dialogue. We're also willing to bet that, if you haven't seen The Long Good Friday, then you'll be shocked by Bob Hoskins' brilliant performance as Harold Shand. Forget the Bob Hoskins you remember from Who Framed Roger Rabbit or the Super Mario Brothers.
What are you doing? You crazy? I don't like people looking up my nose when I'm talking to them.
Instead, Hoskins' Shand is a dyed-in-the-wool gangster with pipe dreams of going legit. Unfortunately, both the American Mafia and the Irish Republican Army have other ideas, leading up to a flurry of conspiracies and double crosses. The less further said the better. Just go out and watch The Long Good Friday right now.
I've treated you lot well, even when you was out of order, right? Well, now there's been an eruption!
What, to you, defines a perfect British gangster film? Let us know in the comments.
I'm the villain in the family, remember?
It's the truth.
Do you agree with our picks? Check out this other recent clip from WatchMojoUK and be sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified about our latest videos.